Hello there, Kyle again. I'm going to try and talk about another game that I really like. This one is not as hard to come by. It's, however, fairly new, and it was one of my favorite games from last year. The game, of course, is Unmatched. This is the newest of sets, the Cobble and Fog set, but there's a Jurassic Park set, there's the original set, there's an expansion set with two fighters in it, and there's a promo character. So there's a lot of Unmatched products, but I wanted to talk about them briefly. I won't get into too many details because a lot of the fun of the game is discovering it for yourself, but let me show you a little bit of how it works, and then we can come and talk about what I really like about it. Okay, here we have the game set up for a fight between Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, who of course share one figure, and Bigfoot and his sidekick, the Jackalope. Now, killing the Jackalope is optional. The way you win the game is by going after the fighter. Health is tracked using these dials. They're easy dials. You can tick down the health. And each player has a card that details movement value, a special ability, and whether it's a melee or ranged attack. On your turn, you've got two actions, and you can pick any combination of these three. You can do the same action more than once if you like. The most common probably is to maneuver, which means you're going to draw a card, and then you're going to move equal to your move value, up to your move value, and that's the action. Now, if you need to go farther, cards have a boost value, which is this little number here, and you can throw away a card to boost the maneuverability of your fighter, which would enable you to get a little bit farther away. You could also play a card for its yellow special ability. Some cards, every deck has a few of them, and they're going to be different and enable you to do different things. And you can also attack. And when you attack, it's very simple. You're going to play a card. For example, this card here is an attack card, and I have to be in Mr. Hyde form to use it, and I would have to be adjacent to my target. Adjacent simply means I have to be connected by a line. So in this case, assuming I were Mr. Hyde, I could play the card, and it's a 5 attack, and so I would then see what my opponent wants to play as a defense. In this case, well, let's say the opponent here has played this defense card, which is a defense value of 3. There are also special effects. In this case, it looks like it's going to cancel my special effect, which is really unfortunate because this card would have been amazing had I been able to do it. But that's okay. At least in this case, it would be 5 minus the 3 from that one, and so I would do 2 damage to the Jackalope, which would be tracked on its own little health dial. This board is the Baskerville Manor that comes with the Cobble and Fog set, and it is special because it has these secret passages, so you can move from this space to any other secret passage. The only other real difference is these colored circles, and those are used primarily when dealing with ranged attacks. If you have any ranged attacks, you can hit anything that's in a circle that shares the same color with the one that you're on. So in this case, Mr. Hyde can hit anybody in one of these green or purple spaces. Although, in this case, that wouldn't happen because Mr. Hyde does not have ranged attacks. That's really how it goes. It's pretty straightforward and pretty fast. At the end of your turn, you'll discard down to 7 cards. If ever you need to draw a card and you cannot, then your characters are going to take some damage, and whoever is successful in eliminating the opponent's hero, the main character, the miniature, is going to be the winner. And that's how you play. And that's how you play Unmatched. It's not very complicated. There aren't really that many rules. It's fast, it's very tactical, and very enjoyable. Let's talk about some of the things I like about it. One thing I like is just this concept of fighting with all these different characters from different worlds. I like that sort of confluence that we have going on there. In the game currently, there are 13 fighters, if I counted correctly. That's the 4 Victorian fighters from Cobble and Fog, the four kind of myths and legend fighters from the first box, then the Bigfoot and Robin Hood expansion, Bruce Lee, and some characters from Jurassic Park. So if ever you wanted to have the Invisible Man go up against a pack of raptors, this is a game that allows you to do that. And that's something I just have always really enjoyed. Another thing I like about the game is that it's really very fast. It's one of those games I can sit down, set up, teach if necessary, and get played in under half an hour. Well under half an hour, unless somebody has trouble making up his mind. It's just really a fast game that you can get into. You can play again and again. You can try different things because each of the fighters functions very differently. Some are very aggressive, some are more defensive, some want to drag things out and win in the long game. So figuring out how those different fighters work and then playing a matchup and trying to use your deck and your special abilities to your advantage is just a lot of fun. Another thing I like about it is that it's a two-player head-to-head game. And I know that sounds like what I just said, but not really. This is just the type of game that I just am pre-programmed to like. My favorite game, Summoner Wars, is like that. And while this game isn't Summoner Wars by any means, it is definitely in that vein, and it's the kind of game that I just really like. It's also very portable. Things can fit all in one box if you squeeze, but I probably have to keep mine in two for now. So those are the things that I really like about it. I like the diversity of characters. I like how each one's unique. I like the special abilities. And I like how fast and fun it is. Now, there are a couple of things I don't like as much. And one of them, although I did talk about how there are 13 characters and that they're very different, there need to be about 30. So this game needs to have about twice as much content so that you really have just unlimited matchups that you can play. It needs it just needs a little bit more, and I know that more is coming. More sets have been teased and promised, but the release rate of the games is really slow. We've had two big boxes in a full year, and so that just means that whenever that happens, it kind of feels like I'm worried the game's going to run out of steam and we won't have as much as I would like. Now, I guess wanting more isn't a bad thing, but I really do. um, Another thing that I like a little bit less is the look of the boards is a little bit function over form. As I showed you, you've got those large circles everywhere, and they have odd colors to them, and it's useful. It makes the line of sight targeting for ranged attacks really easy. It's very functional. It's just not very pretty. So that's that. On the other hand, the artwork on the cards is fantastic. The guy that they got to do the art is just really very talented. It's kind of this abstract sort of, I don't know, abstract's not the right word, but you've just got all this great artwork on the cards. It's very stylized. That's what I meant to say. So there is that. I just wish the boards were a little bit better looking. Uh, like I said, I do wish it could all fit in one box as well with some nice storage, a nice insert or something. And I know you can buy those online separately, but it would be nice if it came with the box. Now, each box does have a nice insert. Let me say it that way. But you won't be able to put more than just that box's contents in the box if you want to use that insert. So if you want to keep it organized as it comes, then you're going to have separate boxes for each set. So there's that. But all in all, I think this game just really hits all the points that I'm looking for. It's really fun. It's not particularly expensive. It's not very hard to learn at all. The rules are very simple. And maybe some people might see that as a negative. Maybe there's a bit of randomness in it, and there are a lot of cards. One thing that I had noticed is that there are a lot of cards that can cancel special abilities, and sometimes that's not as much fun. But you can anticipate it. You can know the contents of the decks, especially if you've played it more than once. and just sort of take that into your planning and not put yourself in a situation where you are desperately relying on something working as planned. But on the whole, there's just a lot to like about this game. It is one of those games I'm always in the mood for. I kind of wish there were an app or something so that I could play it more, just because, I don't get as much time to play it as I would like. One more thing I would say, the box says that it can be played 2 to 4. That's what's commonly known as a lie. I have tried it at 4 players and it was not fun at all. It sucked all the fun away from the game and just really changed it in not a good way. So don't buy it thinking you're going to get your whole family in it. But if you've got one other person that you really like to play with and you want a game that's going to grow with you and allow you to sort of feel clever and try different things and learn these different special abilities and kind of have these dream matchups, well, then Unmatched is definitely the game for you. I give this one also a 9 out of 10. I just really like it, and I'm always in the mood for it. So it's probably my favorite game that came out last year. Maybe there's one or two I like a little bit more, but uh, either way, I really like Unmatched, and I highly recommend it. All right, that's all for now. Bye bye.